Are we ready? Are we set? Are we excited? We're going to talk about shit we like. Yes.
Yes.
It's going to be a very awkward introduction
Oh,
because
it'll be fine.
Awkward's my style. We're fine.
It's like, I don't know what the hell we're doing, but we're just going to talk and see what happens. Hey, look. I'm talking about things I like.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to moan about things I don't like, and no one can stop me.
Oh, as long as it's tactful, yeah, why not? I didn't like this.
What the fuck is tactful?
Yeah, we don't do that here.
Oh no.
Who wants to be tactful?
Exactly.
I like being tackled.
In more ways than one. Cool.
The softer, the better, ideally, so I don't hurt myself.
Yeah.
That's struggle, not tackle. Oh wait, that's different.
I prefer a good soft tackle.
God, soft.
Are you getting into BDSM or something?
No, I just want a good tackle because sometimes I can't bother to just sit down. And at least if I get a soft tackle, it sort of pushes me down by force.
Well, we know who's the forceful one out of you and your girlfriend.
Gravity.
Yeah.
What a
Gravity is the only thing. Gravity is the only thing which is forceful. Stops me from getting up and stops me from getting back down.
But you get up again. You ain't never gonna keep you down.
Cool. Welcome to the Victory Achieved podcast, a video game podcast. I'm here with not on my left, Spanky or Chris, as you like
Hello.
to say. And not on my right, it's Brandon.
Hello, I'm Brandon, aka Sibaka.
And well, this is our first podcast as Victory Achieved. How are you? How are you guys?
I'm all good. Obviously, it's the weekend, so there's not really any way to not to be good. I'm still sort of hyped because, as Dan knows, and maybe I don't know if you know, Charlie, but on Friday we had like a nerd night out. Well, I say like a nerd night out, it was like an evening where we just went into a nerd cafe and just played card games, especially like Yu-Gi-Oh! And literally, it's just been one of these things which I've been wanting to do for so long, for years and years and years. I've never been able to do it in my hometown. It was just nice being able to do it with, like a group of friends and just spend time doing it. It was great.
Yeah, it was really fun. I remember you beat me quite a few times, and I beat you. Was it once or was it twice?
You beat me on the first time because you're Ancient Gear Cat or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think I only beat you once, but no, it was good fun. Yeah, hopefully we're doing it again.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next one. I think other people want to start bringing in like Magic the Gathering, so we'll have like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering going on. So that'd be pretty cool.
I'm not sure about Magic, but we'll see what happens. How are things, Chris?
Yeah, things are very good, thank you. Yesterday I did a 8-hour stream of Dark Souls 2, so that was fun over my Twitch channel. And then I had a few beers, so it was a perfect day, really.
Yeah, no, I wanted to check it out, but I was busy all day, so I had no time. I think by the time I got home, I think you were probably done. I didn't
know how long it would take. I thought it would take me about 12-15 hours, because it took me 15 hours to do a shield-only run. But no, smashed it. I just sort of knew exactly what I was doing. I just went from place to place to place, and that was it. I had no real roadblocks as such. I even did Shrine of Amana in one go, which I was very impressed by.
Yeah.
I know, I couldn't believe it myself. It's like, what? I thought I was going to be here. This is like the next 9 hours, guys.
Oh yeah, by the way, seeing as you said that you started off like you had some beers, I just want to say I probably had a few beers. I literally at the start of the podcast I just called you Charlie for some reason. I don't know why I called you Charlie.
Who Charlie was.
I heard it and I was like, oh dear.
I knew it being over the sea. I'm just like, I've got a 50-50 for big beer.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Not bad for a first stream. And
Yeah.
but then I bought a camera so you could see what I looked like, and then it just went all downhill from there.
I don't know. You are a pretty face.
Oh, thanks very much. I'd say, good job. This is a podcast and not video.
Well, you know. I can't believe you did Shrine of Amana in one go. Like, I hate that area so with a burning passion.
I can't. I just took my time, just like did one enemy at a time.
Yeah.
I didn't go back for the Estus Shard that was halfway. I just went past it. It's like I could go for that. It's like no, fuck it. I'm doing too well. Just go.
On my Dark Souls 2 playthrough, when I did that, all I did was just defeat all the enemies until they just disappeared, and then I just walked through because I was like, I don't like this area at all.
I think everyone did that in the first playthrough. Beat them all 12 times until they just piss off.
I think for me, it was rather than me killing them 12 times, I got to a point where I've died enough times for the game to feel like, you know what, we need to decrease the difficulty a little bit for this guy. we'll let him get through a little bit easier.
He's suffered enough.
I think
we programmed the rest. We programmed the rest of the game. Damn it! We want people to actually see it.
Yeah, but that was the only time they did it.
Yeah, because you were on Scholar of the First Sin, weren't you?
Yeah, that's the one I've just got downloaded.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the easiest one. I've got the vanilla version, but that's on 360.
Have you actually done the DLC yet for Dark Souls 2?
Yeah, a few times.
Good.
I've only done the Frozen Crown. I can't. Yeah, whatever that DLC.
Oh,
is called.
the Ivory King.
Yeah, Ivory King. That's the only one I've done. The other two, I think Iron King. I'm just about to do. Is it? Not Fume Night. What's it called?
Avalon.
I think it's the I can't remember the name now. It's the reskin. 'Cause you have one in the base game, and then they reskin it in Iron King again, but it's like a blue version.
Oh yeah, not the Smelter Demon.
Yes.
It's just like the Blue Flame Demon, or whatever the hell they call it.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on that. I think it was either that or Fume Night. I'm not sure. It's one of the two. I can't remember. It's been ages. But the DLC on 2 is just it's difficult, but it's also very messy. I just think Dark Souls 2 in general is just really bad for enemy placement, and that's what that's my biggest gripe over it is the enemy placement.
Well, I know a lot of people moan about the second one, but I do find myself playing that one the most.
Oh yeah,
I think if you were going to introduce someone to the series who'd never played a game like that, I did it with my cousin. He played the second one first because I think it's just the most accessible.
Yes,
it probably starts off easier.
I would definitely agree on that.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a forgiving start because unlike Dark Souls 1 and 3, where literally your first encounter is a boss, at least Dark Souls 2 actually gives you, you've got the whole area of like the Forest of Sleeping Giants to actually get through before you actually face the last giant as technically your first boss. It is a nice gentle start and familiarizing yourself with it. So I'll give credit for that.
Oh yeah,
but it also gives you a choice. You don't have to fight the last giant first. You can bugger off to Ivory Tower.
I know.
Sorry.
I know.
Yeah.
Hides Tower of Flame.
Hides Tower of Flame. That's it. I literally played it yesterday and it just went. Yeah, but you can fight the Dragon Knight. You can choose him if you want for an instant kill, but it's hard to pull off. But you can go straight from there, straight to No Man's Wharf, and then straight to the tower above. Straight from there, so you can massively diverge right from the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
It just seems like the flow of that first area at Majula, it just sort of gears you towards the Forest of Sleeping Giants, which as a starter player, the Forest of Sleeping Giants is a very gentle ease into it. But unless you played the Score of the First Sin edition, it seems a bit more brutal actually.
Yeah.
Compared to the original, because the Tower Knights, not the Tower Knights, but the Hide Knights are just positioned awkwardly there as well, especially on the other side as you do go into the Hide's Tower of Flame.
What I don't like about Scholar of the First Sin, it's just a little nitpick. I like the stone statues that block your way that you need Fragrant Mantle Yours for.
Yes.
They're everywhere.
They're not in the base game, like to start with. I think there's one or two, but only like a couple. And then it's only like the shady. Then it's only like the shady woods. You got the stone lions, and I think that's your lot.
They're absolutely everywhere.
So I'm not sure how far I got on the base version. I think I'm definitely at the first Forest of Sleeping Giants, but I don't know how far I've got. But obviously on the Scholar of the First Sin, I've completed it. but I don't know how far I got on the original. But you can already tell it's different.
Yeah, well, the Dark Souls 2, I bought the base game the day it came out because I wasn't being denied that. I needed it immediately. So I finished it several times. The only thing is like occasionally, even when I was streaming it yesterday, I was thinking, okay, I'll go here and get that. Then I go to get an item, I get it, and realise, no, they've moved the item placements. That's not what I thought it was. Shit.
Yeah.
Actually, this is actually seeing as slightly going off topic for what we was originally going to be planning for this first episode. How did you guys actually get introduced into the Dark Souls series? Like, what was your how did you get involved? Like, what was it that made you pick up one of the games?
You go first.
For me, it's pretty boring. I was just going around the Xbox Live Marketplace, just trying to see if there was a new game, and Dark Souls just happened to be on sale, and I had no prior knowledge of it, and I just thought it was like, I think it was only like 10 quid, 10, 15 quid. I thought, screw it, I'll take a gamble. Picked it up, and started playing it. It took me a little while to get into it, but I didn't put it down. I just had the drive to keep going. And I remember being so confused with just the shoulder buttons to attack. It's like, that's weird. You don't just hammer X. This is odd. But now I have the opposite problem. If I play any other game and it's not shoulder to attack, it confuses me now. It feels like it's not got the weightiness towards it to combat. Like as soon as I finished playing Dark Souls 3, I started playing Kingdom Hearts 3. And I died twice on the tutorial fights because I just kept pressing the wrong buttons. It's like shoulder button is like, I think it's roll, and it's like, no, that is not attack. Hit it.
It's like what I said before about the Switch version of Dark Souls 1. I always get confused because A and B is the opposite way round to like X and circle on PlayStation. So that it always messes my mind up when I'm playing Dark Souls on my Switch rather than on PS4. It just feels more comfortable.
It is a bit backwards.
On like PS4 or just PlayStation in general, or even the Xbox felt fine because even that's kind of similar. But just on the Switch, although it's like they've switched it to be like the controls on Xbox and PlayStation, I think because it's a Switch, it just messes my mind.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Like the same button to like talk to people, or is it cancel talking to people, is the same as the dodge button. So one of the first people you talk to, which happens to be the Smith, is on a narrow ledge. So if you press the E button to cancel just one time too many, you jump backwards to your death.
Oh yeah,
so you have to be very careful.
So,
yeah, but what about yourself, Dan? How did you get involved in Dark Souls?
So it's funny that you're actually asking me that question because realistically, obviously you had all the, like when it was just come out and everyone's like, oh, it was really difficult, and I was like, you know what, I really want to play this game. It sounds really interesting, but I was like, I don't want to buy this because if I'm not very good at it, I'm gonna feel like I've wasted money playing this game that I can't beat. And I remember it was on, it was an Xbox Gold, like whatever it was called. It was like free on Gold on Xbox. And so I downloaded it, and it was also because of Chris, because I knew you liked Dark Souls. So I was like, well, if you like it a lot, I should play this. So I got it for free, and it took me, I struggled so much. And then I remember when the three of us, when you two first met, you both played it, and you both completed it as well, and you were just talking about it, and I was like, I really want to play this, but I'm not very good at it, and I just really forced myself to play it and beat it, and eventually I just got to a point where my deaths were getting less and less, and I was just getting further and further through the game, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. I'm actually beating this game. Oh my gosh. And then I remember like beating Altorius and doing all the DLC and finally going against Gwyn, and I was like, I remember beating it and just shouting at the top of my voice like, yes, I've done it. And it was great. And now it's like one of my top 3 games of all time.
Yeah, it's very punishing, but it's so rewarding when you finally get past the hurdle. And because you respawn relatively quickly, and bosses normally aren't too far away, you just get that sort of, oh, come on, one more go. I was so close. I can give it this time. I know what to do. You just learn the movesets the more and more you do it.
Oh yeah.
And you know what to watch out for. And soon you'll find you'll do bosses without getting hit once the more you play it. And it's so satisfying when you do.
No, like it was one of those games I really forced myself to play, but then it was one that I thought, you know what, it's got this reputation of being difficult, but I really want to do it, and now I've completed it like 4 or 5 times, and I love it, and I'm still like on my latest playthrough. I found some of the starter equipment that I never found before on any of my playthroughs, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm on my 5th playthrough and I've just found this. It's ridiculous. There's just still so many secrets.
Yeah, and there are certain NPCs that you'll probably never see apart from one playthrough if you're doing multiple, because of the routes you take and the people you talk to.
Is it, who's it? I've forgotten his... Kirk. Yeah, Kirk. I've only done Kirk once, and the last time I tried to do him, I messed his Demon Ruins encounter, so I was like,
I've only ever done Solaire once, because even with the walkthroughs telling you how to do his entire quest line, I still not gone out at one point when you're in like Los Isolith. It's like, okay, I can't go any further until I've done this. How the hell do I do this? Even knowing what to do, I don't know what to do.
I normally always do like Solaire, where you save him so you can use him for Gwyn, and then afterwards I then kill him on my next playthrough, and then I'm like, I feel bad because now I've made Gwyn harder for myself, but oh well.
I think the first time I beat Gwyn, there's like a pillar in the room, and I kind of managed to get into like, not stuck on it, but sort of like give me a bit of breathing space. So
I think that's how I dealt with him on my first attempt as well. As soon as I saw that pillar, I was like, okay, I can actually have my Estus.
Yeah.
I think I just had Solaire, and I was just trying to tank as many hits as I could. Solaire was doing whatever he could, and I was like, oh, I want to beat Gwyn. Oh my gosh! And I could feel like his fury as I was playing. I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder this is the final boss.
I know he didn't do that much damage to me on my very first playthrough, because I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't look at any of it. I hadn't talked to anyone about how to play the game. I was wearing like Havel's armor, like all the heavy stuff, because I just seen blue numbers go up in the inventory and thought, oh, that's good. I'll have that. I didn't think to like, oh, hold on, I'm going to fat roll or anything like that. I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I just tanked everything, tried not to get hit. Saw the big sword and went, yeah, I want that. So nowadays, I much prefer having a light build.
Same.
Yeah.
It's definitely more just being able to roll, and even when you have it like you're like no equipment, and you can do like the somersaults with I can't remember the name of the ring. It's just is it wood grain ring? Yeah. It's just great, just being so agile across the boss arenas and dodging all the attacks.
Yeah, there's a fantastic ring in the third game called Flynn's Ring, where you do increase damage with like the lower equip load.
I think I've got it.
Oh, that weighs in.
I still haven't finished the DLC on free, because I'm on the actual base game. I'm at the final boss, and then I'm also still trying to do the Nameless King. I nearly beat the Nameless King, and then I've died right near the end. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh shit, it took me about 40 plus attempts on my first playthrough to beat that git.
It's such a boss.
The Nameless King is definitely the hardest of the core game.
Yeah.
But on every subsequent playthrough I've done of it, I've beat him first try.
It's such a good boss.
It still takes me a couple of attempts to do him, just to refamiliarize myself with his attack patterns and everything.
Yeah. I think I just played it that much the first time round. It's forever burned into my muscle memory. So, guys, if we're going to keep talking about Dark Souls, what's your favorite boss in the entire franchise?
I was about to ask this myself.
But, yes. I need to really think about this.
No, you need.
Or do you want to pick one from each
Yeah, it'll
Really
probably be easy if I do one from Dark Souls. Are we just going to stick with Dark Souls, or are we also going to include Bloodborne in this?
It's whatever you want.
I suppose could include Bloodborne and Sekiro as well if you want.
I'm
Alright,
not
cool.
as far in both Bloodborne or Sekiro, but I can say from what I've done, I'll tell you what my favourite is so far in them. 'Cause I still haven't beaten Bloodborne. I've not. The last time I played it, I'm at Rom the
Rob the
Spider.
Spider.
Yeah, it's just such a long battle of attrition, and I just like, yeah.
All right, let's start
guess-
off with Dark Souls 1 then.
What about Demon Souls? We're not mentioning that.
I can barely remember Demon Souls, mate. If I'm honest with you, because I've only played it. I think it was like no, it was 2 years ago. But it would have been easier if I got the PS5 version because it would probably be more memorable. Because on Demon Souls, it's just because you go through it so quickly. But I guess if there's any one boss which is memorable, it's probably that fiery boss. You know
Flame
what's dubbed as
Lurker.
the hardest boss in Demon Souls?
Flame Lurker.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's
Flame
probably
Lurker,
the
yeah.
most memorable one. And because it's the most memorable, it's probably my most favorite because I remember it.
yeah.
I always like the Tower Knight. I still haven't finished Demon Souls, but from the bosses I remember, Tower Knight's really good, and 'cause that feels like a really fun puzzle boss. And you also have
Oh yeah.
what's it? The blind? Is it Blind Monk?
Oh, the Blind Hero. That
Yeah,
one.
that's really good. That's a hard
Oh
fight,
yeah.
but it is a good. I like the imagination and the gimmick behind it. It's quite unique.
Well, for a curveball, mine for Demon Souls, I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna forget his name. The giant one that's like a manta ray, the Stormlord.
Yes, that is
Like
correct.
at the end.
I
It's
love
more of a-
bringing back memories,
but-
yeah.
More of a gimmick boss, yes, but the scale of it and all the amount of enemies at the top of you, are just burn into my brain.
Yeah.
Plus, I like manta rays in real life, so it's like, oh, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I need to replay Demon Souls to give it more an appreciation because I've only played it once. I completed it, and then I put it away. Like that's usually not like me when it comes to a Soulsborne game. I do. The only problem is because it's on a PS3. My PS3 controllers are basically dead. It's like the analog sticks are pointing all over the place, and it's not got great sensitivity. Whereas if they could just port it onto the PS4,
I'm surprised they haven't. To be honest.
Now you got the PS5 version. There's kind of no point in playing the PS3 version. But then at the same time, from what I've heard, like the PS5 version, you can still tell it's a PS3 game just with a new coat of paint.
Yeah, I think it's just like the game design behind it all.
It's like the same with, like, as you know, I'm playing Near Replicant, and even that you can tell it's still a PS3 game at the end of the day. Just because it's on PS4 doesn't mean it's what was never a PS3 game in the first place. You can still tell.
Dark Souls 1.
It's an easy one for me.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be very straightforward for this. I think personally, my favorite from Dark Souls 1 is Ornstein and Smough.
Nice.
Like that's mine, hands down.
Yeah, they're certainly probably the most memorable.
Mm.
Probably because so many people probably had an aneurysm trying to beat them.
I love all
I
the like remix of that fight where it's like, I'm being Ornstein and Smough with bongo drums.
I know, yeah.
Has someone been watching Zero Lenny?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I think for me, my favourite boss is probably Artorias. I think it's the hardest boss in the game, but I also think it's probably the best. Yeah, I think
Really?
I think its difficulty does fluctuate, but I think it probably is the hardest boss still.
I'd have thought someone like Manus would be the harder one. And I'm having a harder time at that.
I thought that, but then when I've done the DLC again, I struggled more on Artorias more times than Manus. I beat Manus first time a few times.
Really? I've only done the DLC, I think, twice. I've played it through. But I remember struggling a lot with Manus.
Yeah, it is a hard boss.
Yeah, but if we're gonna be talking about the hardest boss in Dark Souls 1, the
yeah.
boss which has caused me the most death and dying for non-legitimate reasons is the Bed of Freaking Chaos.
Yeah, that is the hardest boss. Let's be honest. But I think if we're
Yeah.
That's a stupidly designed boss at the end of the day.
It is. It's not finished.
No.
It's like, I know, this combat game we've got, let's put platforming in it.
Let's play some Mario.
And if you're wearing Havel's armour, good luck.
Yeah, it basically teaches you to dress light.
Yeah, that's just a pure luck boss. It's just like the game just decides you win or lose. Isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is it? It's just pure BS.
Alright, so for my pick for the first game, Unseen and Snow, I want to say, but you've had it, so I'm going to go with my very close runner-up, Gaping Dragon.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought he looked really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I seen a picture of him. It's like, that guy's got to have reverse heart surgery. That's cool as fuck.
I've got to admit, because when I saw any pictures of Dark Souls after I got it for free from Xbox Gold, because that's literally how I got it as well, but with no prior knowledge of it, the Gaping Dragon, that boss, I saw it, so I thought it was just gonna be, just this normal sort of dragon thing. But as soon as it flipped over and you saw his his exposed wrist, I was just like, wow! Like that was it's probably one of the few bosses in the entire of any game I've ever played that gives me that wow factor of what the hell is that?
I see. I tell you what, it's just because it's something you've just never seen before.
Yeah.
Like Unseen and Smoke, yeah, they're cool. End of the day, they're just dudes in armor. We've seen loads of those, and I suppose that brings me nicely to talking about dudes in armor. Dark Souls 2 bosses.
Dark Souls 2 bosses.
Because that's like that. Half of those bosses are dudes in armor.
Who's my favorite Dark Souls 2 boss? I think for me, it's probably the Ivory King.
A dude in armor.
Yeah, the only reason I like the Ivory King is because that process of you go through this whole icy wasteland, everything's just covered in ice. Then as soon as you get to this last bit where you just got this hole and I can't remember his name, but his wife, one of the daughters of Manus, is like, please help. Yeah. And you just fall into this pit, and all of a sudden you're on this platform encased in lava and just pure chaos. And I was just literally, the first time I fell down that, I literally felt my heart drop. I was like, this is freaking insane. And then the whole story of that, it was just, favorite Dark Souls 2 boss, Ivory King.
Yeah, especially if you do the side quests, so you got like the 3 knights joining you.
I think you kind of have to get them, don't you?
I don't think you have to, but it does make it easier.
So I thought they block off the gates.
Yeah, they block off the gates, but they're not mandatory.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No,
you can do it. Yeah, one might be on the critical path.
Yeah.
The other 2 are locked off, from what I remember. But yeah, I know what you feel. It's like a small-scale army battle. There's just a load of you. It's like this feels like a proper fight, like back in the day.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite as well. It's so epic in its scale in some ways. It's difficult, but it is still kind of epic in like, you have to get the 4 knights, and then you fall down the pit, and you're like destroying like the little portals before the Ivory King appears, and you have to defeat him.
Yeah, it feels like a mini story. It is really, really nice.
Yeah, it feels like pretty epic, and it feels like that should be the true closure to Dark Souls 2.
Yeah, it really does. It was such an immense fight. I loved it to bits.
Like, you've been on your own for so long, but now it's like you and the boys taking on the bad king. Gonna smack him about a bit.
So, Dark Souls. What about for you, Chris?
Right. I'm going to stick with the base game for this one, and again, just because I think it looks cool. Probably not the best boss combat-wise, but I really like the Duke's Deer Freya. Like the 2-headed spider on each side. The only thing I don't like about that boss is the run up to him, because it takes ages.
Oh my god! Don't get me started.
Such a long run.
There's no nearby bonfire. It's just so long.
No, and by the time you get there, your weapon's knackered. You probably got through all your healing items. Yeah, but so the run up to him sucks. The actual boss fight itself, I think, is pretty cool.
By the way, on the topic of Dark Souls 2, we mentioned this for Dark Souls 1, the most annoying boss. Dark Souls 2, most annoying boss has to be Zud and his brother. Those 2 cats.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh, that
Well, you
Run up
think-
to that boss is even worse than Freya.
as I believe the democracy called it, reindeer fuckland.
Honestly, it is
gosh.
atrocious. Like
Terrible.
it takes about 5 or 10 minutes to get to the boss. In between getting to the boss, you're getting screwed against the side by these electric reindeers who just appear out of nowhere. They smack you about, and then the moment you get to the boss, you see them, you get 1 to half health, the twin brother gets involved, and then you're like, great, what do I do? It's,
Yeah.
complete.
And then you nearly
Yeah.
and then you nearly have them on the ropes, and then they start regenerating health. Because fuck you.
I think if we're,
Yeah.
I think the second most annoying boss for me in that game is, I don't know, I can't remember its name. I still haven't beaten it. Is in the Sunken King DLC, the 3 guys. You got like Havel. There's like a
the grave diggers.
Yeah, I hate them.
Oh.
I hate them. The run up to that boss is awful as well. But I hate that boss so much.
Yeah. It seems like for every good thing the DLCs do, there's one thing that massively weighs it down. So Sunken King, it's that area.
Yeah.
The Ivory King, yes, you've got a massive, fantastic boss fight, but then you've got Zod in that reindeer fuckland, so screw that. And what's the one? The burnt one. I forget the name. Iron King. Yeah,
I think the Iron King felt the most complete out of the 3.
Yeah, but it's also got that same area where you go to like the blue smelter demon.
Yeah,
that area sucks.
Oh yeah, that is long. Like that's the one towards the blue smelter demon.
Yeah,
Each
yeah. So
in each game, there's always in each DLC there's like an area. It's just ridiculous. Ivory King doesn't have as bad of an area, but the other 2 definitely do.
Yeah, they've got that one area which is just pure gangbangery.
Indeed.
Right, shall we move on to Bloodborne, seeing as that's next chronologically?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, go on then. Shoot.
Okay, so who wants to start on this?
I've not finished the game, so I'll from my memory, it has been a while, and I need to get back onto it on the game. I think is it is it Vicar
Amelia?
Yeah, I really like that one, but I also like Father Gascoigne as well. It'll be one of those 2.
Father Gascoigne is quite memorable.
Yeah.
I think that's a point where a lot of people decide whether they're going to like Bloodborne or not.
Yeah.
They get up to that, and
Yeah, because that fight against Father Gascoigne, that basically teaches you the general combat of the game. You're against the humanoid hunter type characters. It is a very steep difficulty curve when you're fighting Father Gascoigne, but once you get used to that, you can pretty much handle 9 out of 10 of the hunters throughout the rest of the game, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just that second phase where people start to panic. He transforms and he just rushes at you so far. So you've got to play. You've got to play aggressively.
Yes.
You can't just run around in circles.
It's not like Dark Souls where you can just use your shield. Bloodborne, you have to get in there.
Yeah, well, the shield's in gender passivity, as the game says. It's got one shield in it, but it's kind of like a joke.
Yeah, a little wooden shield.
Yeah.
Aye. Yeah, so that's yours. What's yours, Brandon?
Mine is probably Maria. Either Maria or the Orphan of Kos.
Well, I'd like to say Orphan of Kos, but frankly, fuck that guy. That was like my nameless king. I forget how many times I attempted him. So no.
Just remember that moment when you did beat the Orphan of Kos, that relief of like 2 days of stress trying to kill him, and then you get it done.
2 days? Fucking 4 weeks, I think. I finished the game on separate save files another 4 times before I beat that bastard. Yeah. The Lady Maria fight's really good.
I love it when the moment she turns her twin blade into fire. Oh my gosh, that was a beautiful fight, absolutely beautiful. And you know the cutscene before, and then when you beat her as well.
It's a DLC boss. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Thought so.
Yeah. She got 3 phases, if I'm not mistaken.
So you get her to the halfway point. She then floats up, stabs herself, rips her apart, and then all of a sudden she goes all fiery. something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, and then she starts using blood stuff as well, didn't she?
yeah.
Like,
That
then
that was so. When I first when I first did the fight, I thought, okay, if I use her weapon, the Rakuyo, do I get to use this fiery nonsense? Because imagine if you could. Oh my god, that would have been so amazing. So amazing.
There's a bit of flavor text, so not even within the boss fight, but you find her weapon like in a well.
Yeah, that's what I used.
An earlier bit. Yeah. If you get that, it states that she threw that weapon away because it was like too dangerous, too cursed, whatever, and she refuses to use that kind of power. But then in the actual fight, that's the last phase. She starts using it, even though she'd sworn in the item description she never would.
Well, yeah, she's
just that desperate. Yeah. Because she's on the ropes, so she's got no choice. She either does that or she dies.
Yeah, she's a vile blood at the end of the day. She is a witch.
Yeah.
Or a vampire sort of thing. But yeah.
Yes.
What about you, Spanky? What's your favourite?
So mine, a couple spring to mind. But again, I'm just going to go with the spectacle because I just thought it looked cool. It looked monstrous and horrible. And it's a bit... it's a bit like the Tower Knight, but I'm going to go with the one Reborn.
Oh, yeah.
Fleshy, mushy guy. That's about 2/3 of the game. About 2/3 of the game. Okay. Wait for the game.
I'll see. It's going to be after Rom.
He's literally the boss after Rom, yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, it is, right. Yeah. Yeah, chronological.
I'm going to have to get back onto it and actually finish it.
Rom is like the halfway point in the game. After Rom, you start to see some really, really cool stuff.
Yeah. So it starts to get really Lovecraftian. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, oh, you've beat Rom. Congratulations, you've opened the gates to hell.
Yeah, you've opened up the Blood Moon.
Yeah, I know the Blood Moons come in as soon as I beat him.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have done that. That seemed like a bad idea. Whoops a daisy.
We have Dark Souls 3.
Oh, my favourite game of all time.
Really?
Yeah, Dark Souls 3 is legit my favourite game of all time.
And I couldn't choose
something.
I couldn't choose between them, to be honest. I just play all of them on like an evil footing.
The reason why Dark Souls 3 is my favourite game of all time is because it's a nice conclusion to the Dark Souls series in a way, and the DLC for it is absolutely flipping beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah.
It's good.
So I do like the only other person to make it to like the end of the world is Patches. The same guys throughout the series is trying to screw you over, steal everything he can, just to survive, and he's made it. He's the only.
Yeah, it was so cool. But favorite boss of Dark Souls 3. Now that I'm gonna have to sit back and just wait for this. So I don't know if you two want to go first. I need a legitimate think about my favorite boss from Dark Souls 3.
I think I'm gonna have to have a think for a moment. So Dan,
I guess even though I've not actually beaten it, I'm just gonna say Nameless King because I've not had a go against the actual final boss yet because I know if I do it, I have to restart the whole game. So that's the only reason why I've not done the final boss. It's not like Dark Souls 2 where you beat the final boss and you can just carry on playing. So I would probably, even though I've not beaten it, it'd probably be Nameless King because it's just such an epic boss. You have his first phase and then after he comes down, you're just going toe to toe against Gwyn's lost son.
Yeah. And also, it's one of the few bosses that has like a completely separate health bar. It's not like you get halfway through and then they change phase. It's like, no, you got to deplete the whole thing and then you have a second phase.
Yeah.
It's not too many that do that.
Oh, that's getting me started on one of my most... Right, so you've played the DLC of Dark Souls 3, haven't you, Spanky, yeah?
Of course, yeah. Day one.
Okay, so what's her name?
Sister Frida.
No, Sister Frida.
Oh, yeah,
3 bosses, you have to deplete the health bar 3 times.
Yep.
That was one hell of a boss fight. I beat the first life. I was like, okay, was that it? There's nothing really special going on here. She dies, and then all of a sudden you see Father Ariandel comes out, and I'm like, okay, bring it on. This has to be the last phase. Do that. The health bar stays there. I've got no Estus, and I'm just like, whew, I'm sweating. I'm absolutely sweating my ass off here. I've got everything. I've got no Estus. My weapon's dying. I'm sweating like a pig. And then all of a sudden, this health bar just doesn't disappear. And then all of a sudden, you hear that text, and you're just like, please no. And then all of a sudden, here she is in Black Flame mode. And like, well, I surrender.
It's a great boss.
The game gives you a few seconds and there's a few line of dialogues, which is basically cue for you might want to heal.
It is a good boss. You can get I've forgotten what he's called. You can get a phantom to help you, but he only comes like halfway through the fight.
Yeah,
with phantoms.
I think that knows that. Yeah, I don't think it's very useful though.
No,
They simply charge in and then just get crushed immediately.
pretty much.
But yeah, I've probably got to say for Dark Souls 3, I'm literally torn between 3 bosses for Dark Souls 3.
I'm torn between 2 myself.
I'm torn between Sister Frieda.
Mm.
I'm torn between Dark Eater Midir.
Aye.
And I'm possibly torn with Gale as well. So the 3 DLC bosses.
Cool. Gale's pretty good. Dark Eden Medea's alright. I'd say out of those 3, I'll probably go for Gale myself. Out of those choices.
Yeah,
I'm really torn.
Yeah, it's got the weight of like the entire end of the universe.
You literally feel like this is like a final boss, like a proper conclusion there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really don't know. Really don't know.
As Dark Eater Medea, it's just a sponge.
So much health.
So much health. To me, that's not so fun. It's like the ancient dragon from Dark Souls 2.
Oh my gosh.
It's like that's optional, yeah, but have you tried fighting him? It's like, just forget it.
You have to have 3 weapons.
Yeah, and even then, he just like, even if you've got so many points in health, it will just like one shot you. He didn't care.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's how I found Dark Eater Medea to be as well.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go with Frieda as my favorite boss.
Yeah, but
Frieda
it is the only one in the entire franchise to have 3 phases,
which
is in itself a spectacle.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I think it's my favorite boss, is because the amount of emotion I went through fighting that boss, and just the whole color scheme, the whole area, the whole of everything, the weapon you get as a reward. Oh, such a beautiful boss.
It's great. I've only got to the final phase a couple of times, but it is such a great boss.
Aye. Okay. So I'm going to come to the 2 that I'm really torn on. So the one that's earlier in the game, they're both base games. So the first one is the Abyss Watchers.
Oh, brilliant!
I really like that fight.
Oh, I forgot about them.
Yeah, I thought you might forget about it because they're like the first sort of 4 lords you've got to take on. But it's such a cool boss fight.
The music as well. It's so sad, the fact that they're locked in endless like they're immortal. They can't die, but because each of them have got a part of the abyss in them, they're constantly fighting each other to cleanse themselves. It's such a sad boss.
I'm gonna guess all of us has played it as done exactly the same thing. As soon as they realise one of them was hostile to the other 2, and would attack them, everyone just ran away and tried to hide in a corner when he just was away from them.
just to wait to see what happens.
Yep. It's like, you fight them. I'm gonna piss off over him. But then, he's got the second phase. He's very nimble, but his moveset's cool, but it's not impossible to dodge.
No,
it's very fluid.
It's very reminiscent of Artorias, which makes sense because they're the Abyss Watchers and Artorias of the Abyss.
Yeah, it is a very, very nice fight. Yeah, very, very nice. Especially because you can keep the moveset as well. That's cool. Yeah,
and also because of how like fast they tend to move, especially in the second phase, it's kind of reminiscent to a Bloodborne boss. It's very fluid. But anyway, the other boss I was torn between. Slothric and Lorien. I think that's a very cool fight.
Really?
Yeah, really. Oh. I really like that fight. The music in that boss battle is fucking epic. I've got it on my music player.
No, I've got a lot of Dark Souls 3 music saved in my Spotify.
Yeah.
I always love musically Artorias, Gwyn, and Ornstein and Smough. I always get confused with the Ornstein and Smough and music because it always sounds like the Wind Waker music from the Ganondorf battle at the end. It always sounds similar, so it always confuses me 'cause I always have the Ganondorf music in my head, and then I always think it's from Dark Souls 1, but then it never is, and it always always just throws me off.
See, now that you mentioned that, I feel like I need to because I haven't really paid any attention to a lot of the Legend of Zelda music, really. Now I feel really bad for that, actually, now that I think about it.
It's 35 this year.
I know. So hopefully they bring out something nice for the 30. I can't remember. Are they actually bringing anything out for the 35th anniversary?
Yeah, they bring Skyward Sword, and then they got the new Joy-Cons. I've pre-ordered them, but I don't know what else.
I might pick up Skyward Sword because I've never played it. Because like the only ones I've played are Ocarina. I've played 1 and 2. You know, on the that Super Nintendo arcade thing on the Switch. I played those two, completed them both. I've done Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and that's literally my extent of Legend of Zelda. I've not played anything else.
I've played Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight, Skyward Sword, but I'm only halfway through it. Breath of the Wild, A Link Between Worlds, Spirit Tracks, Phantom Hourglass, A Link to the Past, of course. I played pretty much most of them. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I've done every single mainline Zelda apart from Skyward Sword because fuck the Wii U. Oh no, just the Wii.
Just the Wii.
Bug motion controls.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
But yeah, actually, now that you mentioned that about music, Dan, this is just a generic question to all of you guys. So you've mentioned that. I think we've previously mentioned about the music and everything, but what is actually your favorite soundtrack from all of Dark Souls? Like Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. What would you say is that standout soundtrack which instantly like hits you in the face or the heart with feels? What would you say it is?
It's obvious. Gwyn.
Oh, yours is Gwyn. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought so you'd say that. Knowing you.
What about yourself, Chris?
Myself, I'm probably going to go for the music that plays during the Lothric and Lorien fight. It's just badass. It's really bombastic. It's got several parts to it. It starts off like big and bombastic, but it just keeps going. It puts the extra vocals into it. It just feels like, yeah, this is it. This is like the culmination of everything you've been fighting for so far.
Yes. Yeah, just trying to get the two boys to do their job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love Shrine in general.
That's pretty iconic. Although I quite like just the low meander of Majula in Dark Souls 2.
Yes.
Oh, that's quite gentle and nice. Yeah.
Yeah, but probably because I've left the game on for far too long. Like, when I've buggered off to like go to the toilet or something, I've just left it on in the background, and it's just like wormed its way into my subconscious. It's probably now this screensaver to my brain when I'm not thinking about anything.
Oh, you've only streamed it a few times.
Yeah, I only streamed it a few times. I've lost count of how many times I've played it though.
Yeah, I'd say for myself, I've probably got to go with the Abyss Watchers. Like the Abyss Watchers soundtrack is so nice.
Oh,
the sound of the bell, the opera, you can feel the emotions in it. Just the hollowness that they're feeling from constantly fighting each other. It's so good.
Yeah, so that's my two favourite bosses in Dark Souls 3 there. both of these best soundtracks. Gwyn's the odd one out.
Yeah,
you just had to be different.
Yeah, had to be. If I didn't want to be different, I may as well just pick Soul of Cinder. Even though I've never beaten him, he has Gwyn's music in.
Yeah, pretty much.
It does, for second phase. Yeah, it does. That's a pretty good reveal, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I really want to beat Soul of Cinder, but then I'm like, then I can't do the DLC, even though I'm stuck on the DLC.
We just got a blue ball. Like, go fight the boss, get right to the very end as if you're about to kill him, then be like, you know what? I've technically beat you. I'll kill myself, and then let's do the DLC.
Could do. That is a good point.
Yeah, I was just about to say as well. In terms of, because obviously we've chosen Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3 for iconic music. But can I just give some heart to Dark Souls 2 music. You know the soundtrack that plays when you fight the Ruined Sentinels and the Smelter Demon. Because if you, I read this in like a YouTube comment. Like if you listen to it very carefully, it sounds like it goes fuck bullshit. Like,
which to be fair is what I'm saying when I'm playing it half the time.
I know that's what I say. Like when I'm fighting the 3 Sentinels, it's just like it. Every time I hear that soundtrack, because once you heard a misheard lyric is all you can hear in it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
ever since then, that's all I hear. It's just fuck bullshit.
I'm very sure if you take my 2 Dark Souls streams that I've done, and maybe the other ones, you could do a supercut of all the times I said fucking bullshit and make some kind of dance track out of it. Easy.
Spanky remix.
Yep. Ah, perfect.
He's gonna spank to spank to spank.
Spank a dank. The Spanker Demon.
It's just like that's the proper DLC boss.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like in like the other like Japanese RPGs, you've got like the joke boss, which is something really weedy, like a ladybird or something.
Oh yeah.
Turns out to be like a food final boss. That's it in Dark Souls. You got Spanky. It's just gonna sit there, hurl abuse at you. Well, you just can't take it.
Isn't that like?
Oh no, I can't do this. I can't do this, please.
It's almost like I don't do any physical damage, but I just swear so much I just cause like frenzy build up, like in Bloodborne.
So basically, King Alon.
Yeah.
Well, everything's connected now.
Yeah, it all adds up. It all makes sense now.
It does. So I won't do seppuku. I'll just probably say, "Oh fuck this!" Just crack open a can and just sit in the corner and have a mope.
No one wants to do seppuku or seppuku.
No.
I don't know how you say it.
Seppuku.
Seppuku. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, but I guess the audience for the podcast, now that we've had this conversation, can actually sort of appreciate just why we've called the podcast Victory Achieved. It's just because all of us just love Dark Souls. Like it's that one standout game which we all mutually have such a strong passion for. And every time you go through the ups and downs of the game, every time you fight the boss and you see that victory achieved, it's just just music to my ears and pleasant to my eye holes.
Yeah,
it's music to my eyes.
I think I've said this to you, Brandon, before, but with like Dark Souls, it just has this really good feeling of getting stronger and overcoming obstacles. Like the more you struggle, lose against a boss, who knows how many times, but you're like, I'm gonna get back up and beat it. And even in life, it's like a good way to put it into reality, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Like failing to try and, I don't know, whatever you're doing in life, you're like, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try and do this. I don't want to, even sometimes maybe not asking for help because you want to do it on your own. But then, like in Dark Souls, asking for help isn't a bad thing. Sometimes you need that extra body to defeat that boss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a very nice way to look at it as well.
Yeah,
or you can just be like Spanky and just go around with a freaking broken sword and
just whittle away at it because I'm just so headstrong and stubborn. It's like no,
I will do it with my broken sword. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I bloody well did. And I felt, I wouldn't say fantastic at the end. I did it, and I was like, fine. Hey, I seen victory achieved. That's good enough. Just like the rest of your life, you look back at it and go, "Why the hell did I do that?"
But I mean, now that I think about it, that's actually one of the really cool things which I actually genuinely love about Dark Souls. Just the amount of different style of weapons and builds you can do on it, and it just always seems different. Like, yeah, it's the same enemies that are in the same places each time. The bosses are all the same, but just going and just approaching the game from a different angle each time, it just always makes it feel new.
Yes.
So like one day you can do like a Cestus build, you could do like a pick build, scythe build, double ultra great swords or whatever. It always just feels nice.
Calm down.
Yeah. There was one there's one mod on the PC that I really wanted to get it to work. I even bought the game again on PC, trying to get it to work, and I couldn't do it. There's a Dark Souls like randomizer, which
Oh, yeah.
changes all the weapon rounds, and I thought, oh, that's fantastic. So if I just start a game, I'll just go with the build with whatever I get given first. So you know, if it happens to be like the Dragon's Tooth, I'll be that's what I've got to work with.
Well with it for the rest of your life.
So I saw a guy stream Dark Souls 1 where it was like that with the randomizer, but what they had was the weapon changed every 30 seconds or every minute.
Oh, I think I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
Lobos Jr. was it?
Yeah, Lobos.
Sure.
He does that a lot. Like that's how I saw most of my Dark Souls streams was from him.
So he was
Really?
trying to like get out the way of something, and then suddenly he had like the dragon tooth, and he was like, "Oh wait, I'm now fat rolling," and he just got slaughtered, and it was hilarious.
It makes you want to give it a go, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is it just the weapons that changed in that mod, or could it be anything? Like you could just make it so any sort of weapon and armor will change.
I think just the weapons. I'm not sure though.
So I was going to say, like, just imagine like every 30 seconds, all of a sudden you get a bow, but no arrows. You're like, oh well, this is useless. You still have to resort to punching them.
No, even if like the gameplay of Dark Souls and just Bloodborne and all that, like they're just so engaging, and I guess Dark Souls not as much because there is more shielding and tanking, but with Bloodborne it's just so engaging to get into the fight and the heat of the battle, I guess, really. But it's just so definitely Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne. It's so much more fluent than the predecessors. But then Demon Souls and Dark Souls are very similar. They're a bit more slower. Dark Souls 2 is a bit in the middle-ish, but then Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 definitely are far quicker and more engaging than the other entries. And it's obviously what they've done with Sekiro as well.
Oh yeah, they took it to another level there.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like 3D maneuvering on Sekiro.
Yeah. It's great. Well, we'll probably talk about Sekiro in a little bit more detail at another time. Although, as you both know, I don't have as much experience over it compared to you two.
You'll get there, mate. It's just one of those games where, as you said with Dark Souls, it's going to be more challenging than Dark Souls because you've got like an X, Y, and a Z axis to worry about when you're trying to deal with bosses, rather than your traditional X and Y axis. It's just reading the boss. Like you've really got to pay attention to like reading the boss, like what move is going to come in, and just do the correct thing. Like whether you do like a back step to like retaliate against a thrust attack, or if it's a sweep attack, you have to make sure you jump and bang him on the head. Like that's the really challenging part, is getting really good at reacting and responding correctly to how they move. Which, in a way, it's almost like a rhythm game. Like as if you're playing Guitar Hero, you've got to respond to the notes. In Sekiro, you've got to respond and do the correct action at the right time. You have to make sure it's at the right time, obviously, and being aware of your surroundings. Because the last thing you want to do is like jump because you see sweeping attack, and that's it. You're going off the cliff or straight into some fire. But yeah. It's just one of those things. It just takes a lot of practice.
As I said to you before, Brandon, I love its design and all that, but it is just very, very difficult.
It's the only one I've yet to beat. Got up to the last boss twice on 2 separate playthroughs. Can't kill the git.
Again, that's the beautiful thing about Sekiro, is that last boss is literally a culmination of everything you had to go through. Like you need to remember everything. Like, oh, you have to jump when you see a lightning attack and return it when you hit the ground. You've got all these weapons you've got to contend with, all these maneuvers which you've had to bring up, like your shinobi arts and whatever. It's just, yeah, it's such a beautiful fight, that last one against Ashina Shin.
Yeah.
I think I was just bitter because my technique of just hitting it with an axe and tapping square so much just didn't work. Just didn't work.
No, I literally was running all over the place, and I was literally just like, if there was a place on the map I've not been, I'm going to run there because it's probably safe.
Also, no broken sword, so 0 out of 10.
I think that's probably going to be that's probably going to be it for our first episode.
Yes.
Like I said, I'll probably put a link in the description for is it Verti video for the Prepare to Cry videos on Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro as well. I think he's got a few.
Very good series. Very good series.
Very good. Yes.
I'll put both of your your Twitch channels as well if people want to check them out too. Sadly,
Thank you very much.
So, very, very quickly, I just want to say, hey, guys, thanks for having us on. It's been fun, this little chat. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more, and I'm hopeful our viewers are as well. So, just on a bit of an ending, I want to extend my thanks to Dan. Dan, if you want to say hello and bye. Okay, Brandon, if you want to say any last words? That sounded threatening. Sorry.
Any last one? I mean, if I'm going to say anything, it'll be it's just nice talking to two friends about, stuff we just genuinely have a passion about. And it's going to be nice for you guys as the audience to basically just listen to us as well, just tuning and just sort of get to know us in a way. Like, it's not just us three in the podcast, like you guys in the audience, if you're going to watch or whatever.
Yeah.
You're also involved with this, like, I'm pretty certain, like, you can stick with us, you can see us grow, we can interact more as the project really goes on, and be really nice to see where we all head off from this.
It's probably best for the beautiful listeners to get to know Brandon and Dan. Probably the less you know about me, Spanky, the better.
Just give him a straw.
Yeah, we'll just
if you see me in the street, please leave me alone, unless you're going to buy me a pint.
Well, right now with Leicester, it's not really a place to go at the moment.
No. Well, it never has been, to be fair. Never has been.
I mean, I work there. I've got to go there, but I'm forced to go there.
Sucks to be you. No, we are three guys who live in Leicestershire. Well, Brian, you live in Peterborough, but you work in Leicester.
Yeah.
And I live on the outskirts, and I say this my passion is video games and anime and just, I guess, nerd media in general. So I've always wanted to talk about it, and obviously these two guys, well, they're great. I thought they would be the best people to talk about it.
Yeah, this really was the brainchild of Dan and Brandon. I'm just here for the ride. I thought, hello, I'll get to talk about shit I like. Go on then. I'll have me some of that.
Ooh, that's going right in my basket.
Yeah, exactly.
But no. Cool.
Yeah.
So,
as always, thank you for listening to us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Catch you in a bit.
Be safe. Be well. Don't get COVID.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Or dragon rot, rather.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get that.
that too.
People listen to this podcast about 3 years' time, like, what's COVID?
Yeah.
What is that?